talking about incentivizing people to buy things like electric cars or incentivizing them to do massive renovations to their existing homes, that incentivizing means money. And the only place that government gets money is from taxpayers.
Wow, I was really mad there. Hi, my name is Kris Sims. I'm the Alberta Director for the Canadian Taxpayers Federation. I think that clip was when I was on Global News Live, and I was arguing that the carbon tax is an unfair punishment on the backs of working people. And that's exactly what it is. I wanted to pick up on something that the Premier just said, and also a little joke. So quite often, Andrew Lawton, who is lovely, and he used to be on True North, used to make a joke saying, I used to fill in on the air for Premier Daniel Smith, so I guess I'm the Deputy Assistant Premier of Alberta. I fill in for Andrew now on True North, so I think I'm the second Assistant Deputy Premier of Alberta. So thank you very much for the appointment. Thank you. I wanted to pick up on something that the Premier said there about Gerald Butts having previously been in the Ontario government under then Liberal Premier Kathleen Wynne, and previous to that, Dalton McGuinty. That's true. What's also true is that there is an entire team of staffers that when the Wynne government went down at Queen's Park, which is the name of their legislature building in Toronto, in their capital of Ontario, when that government went down, a huge team of that brain trust scurried up to Ottawa to help form the Trudeau government. And one of the main things they worked on, the same people that brought the green energy catastrophe of Ontario, people might remember how people couldn't afford hydro and they couldn't afford heat out in Ontario, that same team formed the legislation for the carbon tax. That same team literally refers to the carbon tax as a punishment for the poor behavior of using fossil fuels, of using oil and gas. So while we often see elected politicians who are doing good things and bad things, there is always a legion of permanent government and staffers behind them with good ideas and in some cases, rotten ideas. So today I've got around half an hour with you, and I wanted to focus on two major things: energy and expression. When you think about it, we're here right now because we all used energy to get here in order to, what? Listen to people talk with each other, share things with our friends, express ourselves. The Trudeau government right now is trying to crush our access to affordable energy and, in many cases, free expression. So I wanted to highlight these two elements for you, and I'm going to start with energy first. And I've noticed a pattern, especially with this government, is that they'll come at things from two different directions. I don't know how many of you guys went into shop class. I was in shop class my entire life until I graduated high school. But you know the vise that's on the side of your workbench? You keep cranking it harder and harder, and there's two sides of it closing in. That seems to be the case with both energy and expression here in Canada. So let's start with energy first. So who all here drove a vehicle to get here? Okay, show of hands, who all here drove either a gasoline, diesel, or even a hybrid vehicle to get here? Okay. Trudeau is going to outlaw the sale of those new vehicles in 10 years. If you think that's a long time ago, do you remember when Trudeau was elected? That's right. Goes by like that. That's how quickly that is going to be the case. So even if you want to walk onto a vehicle lot and purchase a new gasoline or diesel-powered vehicle, and in some cases even hybrid vehicle, the government will forbid you from doing that, and you won't be allowed. So that's a big problem here at the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, because our mandate is lower taxes, less waste, and accountable government. And this seems like pretty big, bossy, unaccountable government for them to tell you, yeah, what kind of vehicle you're allowed to drive. But I wanted to get into some numbers here for you, just on the EV mandate. I like to call them battery-powered cars. Because I just picture my little plastic, vroom vroom car when I was a kid, my toy. So let's take a look at the numbers here. Sheer taxpayer funding. Between the two levels of government, particularly with the feds that have put in around $30 billion, okay? And now we've got Ontario chiming in. We have got just so much money pouring in to the so-called electric vehicle mandate that it's a wonder that Canadian taxpayers will ever be able to afford it. But I got right down into how much these things cost to power. Okay, so if you plug in an electric vehicle, that energy obviously comes from electricity, from your electricity grid. If you all live here in Alberta, I remember an alert coming from the Alberta government a few times last winter. Don't plug in your hairdryer. Don't use your toaster. Everybody, we're going to have a blackout. How are we going to power these Trudeau trolleys in a few years' time if we can't even plug in a toaster? We don't have the energy for this. When you get into numbers, there's a gentleman, is a scientist, he's a smart dude, he's out in British Columbia. He did the math just for road transportation. Now, I think he did include intra-provincial commercial trucks here with his numbers, but just for transportation, not talking about industrial strength power, if they all switched to electric vehicles tomorrow just in BC, they would need 9 new Site C dams. 9 of them. The planning for that dam has taken around 10, 15 years. Like W.A.C. Bennett, one of their premiers back in the 50s, is the one that chose Site C because they already had A and B built. That's literally why it's called Site C. Okay? So 9 new Site C dams. So I just finished doing the math. It's going to be probably in the Toronto Sun newspaper chain in the next few days. Franco Terrazzano, my dear friend and colleague, our federal director, and I wrote the article together. And I did the math for all of Canada. If Santa Claus brought all of us a free electric vehicle tomorrow, if all of the vehicles in Canada, by the way, there's 24 million of them in Canada right now, if we all plugged in, we would need 20 new big nuclear reactors. I'm not talking modular. I'm not talking those little ones that, Premier Scott Moe is talking about doing, Saskatchewan. No. Those big honkin' nuclear reactors that we're used to seeing on the Simpsons cartoon, we would need 20 of them. Folks, those things cost around $15 billion each. They take around 10 years to build. So if you do the math, it actually lines up with Natural Resources Canada's own data. This is going to cost around $300 billion to do. That's just the electricity and the infrastructure. That's not the sticker price of the EV that they're trying to force you to purchase. So this is why the Taxpayers Federation is saying, no, we can't afford this. We can't do this. And so that's why that's one of our fights now. We even have a petition up on our website, taxpayer.com. If you're not part of the taxpayer army yet, you can oppose Trudeau's electric vehicle mandate because we just do not have the cash.
Oh, hi, it's Ezra Levant here in Toronto with an important message because we need your help. Independent journalism in Canada is under attack. Government censors, big tech deplatformers, and the dying legacy media are all working together to maintain exclusive control on the information you receive. They don't want you to hear other voices like ours, and they really don't want you to be informed and to think for yourself. That's why the work we do here at Rebel News is so important. Our on-the-ground reporting, independent news shows, and special content you won't find anywhere else. It's all designed to give you trustworthy information and alternative viewpoints so you can decide for yourself. We don't get government money, and we are not owned by some big global conglomerate. We're funded by people just like you, so please support independent journalism and help us continue our work by subscribing and becoming a Rebel News Plus member today, right here on the page. Go to rebelnewsplus.com. Members get instant access to all of our shows, invitations to exclusive events, and access to our premium content like live event footage and documentaries you won't see anywhere else. Only Rebel News Plus members can join the conversation by participating in the comments section of our new website. That way you can have your say too. More than anything, though, you'll be able to take pride in supporting real, honest journalism, and you'll help our talented team continue to do the work to push back on the establishment. We really can use your help. We need it, in fact. So thank you, and enjoy Rebel News Plus.